We're going to reverse engineer our way of thinking about our lives today. And it is something that's really important to do. And while we do that, I want y'all to consider the art of journaling, because when we express ourselves verbally and then we actually write down our thoughts, it reinforces the nature of what those thoughts are and how it goes out into the universe. It just does. So a lot of people are intimidated by it. A lot of people go buy a journal or they take one of the ones here, and then they're like, God, what do I even write? I got all this clutter of stuff in my brain. How do I even get it out? Well, it's a very therapeutic tool. Just write down one line. Write down, I shouldn't have been an ass today. I should have smiled. I should have been kinder. I should have been more considerate. And it just goes from there, and you don't have to go anywhere. You can just write that, and then you just get better as you go. But this, as we talk about today, journaling is a good practice for what we're going to talk about. Most people, their biggest worry is money. Like, that's the biggest issue with most people. That's what causes most people the most stress. Most people can't even focus on their spirituality or their relationships because they're worried about money. How am I going to get this thing? How am I going to pay for gas to get to work? How am I going to do whatever? How am I going to buy my girlfriend dinner? It's a problem, but it doesn't have to be a problem. I mean, we've all had financial issues, me included, a lot. I've had ups and downs worse than a roller coaster at Six Flags. But one thing is for sure, if we say, I want or need $50,000 a year, I need $200,000 a year, I need $1 million a year, I need 10, I need $100 million a year. Well, that's great, but how do you get there? So if you already see yourself with whatever it is, just call it 100 grand, make it easy. If you can look at that and you picture yourself already there and then reverse that back, how did I get there? What are the steps I need to take to either get a promotion? What are the steps I need to take to get more sales? What are the relationships I need to build that are going to help me with distribution or whatever it is? And as you start making that, most people end up failing because they're so scatterbrained, they can't keep themselves organized. So if they're not organized, they never get there. They just run around in loops and circles and wonder why nothing's happening when they're not taking step by step by step by step by step and not getting, everything takes time. So when things aren't happening immediately in our instant gratification world, we get really upset by it. We start getting kind of pissed off and down on ourselves. And then we take that out on our loved ones. We take it out on ourselves. It's kind of strange. Not only our financial situation, but the ones around us. It's one of the reasons why I love our group here, because we just look out for each other. And it's important. It's really important. So if you don't have a close-knit group of friends that you can call when you're in a bind, you got a problem. I mean, it's nice to have a brother or a good friend, but what if that person's just not available that day? What if Dean's out of town? What if Noah's at his girlfriend's house and I can't call him when I'm, trying to rotate my tires in the garage and it falls on me, which is not going to happen because I'm going to Valvoline. So we have to have close friends and we have to help each other with our financial goals. And it's good because people can hold us accountable. Me and Dean have a couple of projects going, and if I wasn't doing the work necessary or he wasn't doing the work necessary, it is incumbent upon us as friends to tell each other. Like, hey, dude, you said you're going to work on this today. You didn't do shit. Yeah, that's important because we need friends like that. We need friends like those two boys back there. They need to kick each other in the butt from time to time. Like Mario needs to tell Jacob, hey, man, you're drinking too much this weekend. You need to cut that out. And Jacob needs to tell Mario to stay away from those ugly, trashy hoes. It's a fact. That's what buddies are for. It is what we need. We think about if we want to reverse engineer our bodies, most guys my age get out of breath pretty easy. I'm in my mid-50s. And I can tell you, they can walk up a couple flights of steps and they're trying to hide it because their ego doesn't want anybody to see. I got some steep steps over at the study. So when they come up, I can tell they're like, I'm like, damn, dude, cut out the donuts, It's like, let's stop that. But it's really not that hard, is it? we can look at ourselves and go, all right, well, I've gained a little bit of weight. So how much energy on my body right now do I have that I could start using instead of just feeding myself another hamburger and a big old thing of fries? I can just do it. And it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. It doesn't have to be like so overwhelming to re-engineer how to treat our bodies right. We just, okay, I want a burger. Fine, get a burger. Just don't get the extra large fries. Don't even get them. Just start cutting out little bitty stuff. Start being more conscious about your health and making tiny, tiny changes. Then all of a sudden, over a period of time, you're in great shape. It's not that difficult. Most people, like New Year's resolutions, they always fail after a few weeks because people try to make this one big jump into something new. And they're like, and they don't stick with it long enough for it to create a habit and then a altering path in their life. Just one little bitty thing at a time. But again, because we're in a instant gratification, people get pissed off at themselves. Oh crap, I'm still a fatty. Oh God, I'm still getting out of breath if I go up the stairs. Well, that's okay. Everything takes a little time. Just move. Hey, and if this kind of stuff resonates with y'all and y'all go get the book, it's really great and helps support our work out here. I would appreciate it. It has gotten a massive amount of reviews and they've all been good. So that's a plus. I like to think about this when I think about going through the produce aisle at the grocery store. Would I drink a big old thing of gasoline or bleach or glyphosate, the Roundup, stuff that's in weed killers? Would I pick up a gallon of bleach, which smells awful to me, and just start drinking it? Well, that's what we're doing whenever we think we're eating healthy. Let's go grab a salad. Let's eat that. But then we don't realize that it's sprayed with all the crud. And then we're stuck in this position of, okay, what do I eat? The French fries are bad. Onion rings are bad. And I'm guilty of eating onion rings every Wednesday or Thursday with Jacob. But Jacob, not being my friend, he never looks at me and says, hey, Kev, you probably should cut back on those onion rings. Thanks, Jacob. So it puts us in a dilemma. And then it has to change the way we eat. Like I'm lucky that whenever I want a dessert, sometimes when I go to dinner, Jill will say no. She's like, no, we don't need a dessert. And then sometimes she wants something and I'll say no. Like she said, we were going to go eat Mexican. She goes, God, but I'm going to eat the chips. And I said, no, you won't. I'll move them for you. We don't have to have chips. We can just eat the little steps, the little bitty things. But sometimes, I'll still eat the dessert and then I'm down on myself. I'm like, come on, you dumbass. You knew better than to do that. And I kind of feel bloated, have a sugar crash, and I'm like, oh, now I need to take a nap. Same thing as eating bleach. Like, why? We don't have to do it. We just don't have to. And that's another reason to have good friends around us all the time. Good friends. How about reverse engineering our life like this? Like, what do you think? Why do you think it? Is it because you learned it on some streaming video of the news or some podcast talking about current events or whatever propaganda you're being force-fed? Why do you think the way you think? Most people don't know. Like, most people don't know why they're a Christian, a Buddhist, Islamist, whatever. They just don't know because their mom and daddy told them to. And their grandma and grandpa, it's a societal norm. But they don't understand. They don't understand their belief system. It just feels good to, be a sheep like everybody else. Because then you're not ostracized. Nobody's looking down on you. You're like, oh, if I don't conform this way, I'm going to be the guy nobody invites over to the party. But is it really worth going to that party sometimes? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the infinite gave us our minds, our imagination, so we can use them. Not just idly believe whatever it is on the news. Like most Republicans and Democrats get in a cycle, and this is all religions too, they get in a cycle of only listening to the things that back up what they kind of feel. And they get in that loop and never hear or want to hear anybody else's opinions on anything. So if you cannot listen to anybody else's open, honest arguments the way they believe, and you can't express it without talking down to them, We're never gonna bubble up to the truth with anything, ever. It's never gonna happen. Because if you new guys, you came out here and you said, I'm a die-hard Democrat, and I say, I'm a die-hard Republican. And the second either one of us said that, all of a sudden, we stop listening to the other person. We don't even know each other. But if we started to get in a conversation, or if you were a Catholic and I'm a Baptist, the second that comes out, the likelihood of us continuing a meaningful conversation is about zero. That is ignorant. I mean, that is crazy. And we don't have to do that. We can reverse engineer our lives. We can look back on all the times we've done it ourselves. And now that you can recognize that, you can catch yourself and say, hey, I don't need to be instantly judgmental. As long as they're willing to respectfully talk to you about an idea, that's fine. I'll listen, because I might be wrong. I mean, Jill says I've been wrong before. I don't believe her, but it might be true. It might be true. How many people wish they read more? If you think about it, most people don't read because they have a preconceived notion of, or a notion of the few times they have started to read, they get tired. Like you yawning right there. Okay, then your mind starts drifting. Books. Yeah, he said books, he yawns. Everybody can read 1 page a day. Everybody can read 2. Everybody. And wow, does your mind expand. It's just like anything. If you can only do 1 push-up, and you start just doing 1 push-up, and then you wait a little while, and you go do 1 more push-up, and then you wait later and do 1 more push-up, then all of a sudden you're going to start being able to do 2 push-ups. Your muscles are going to get stronger. Then before you know it, you're going to be repping out doing 50 to 100 push-ups and being a show-off. Same thing with reading. You just have to exercise your mind. It's the same way with everything. Self-discipline, with eating, you just have to practice. Everything is a muscle that we have to do. And we can look back on our lives and see where that was true. So if you want to read more, just read a page every day. And then all of a sudden you're going to find something and you go, oh wait, I can't put that down. Crap, but let me read a couple more. Then all of a sudden you read 10 pages. Then all of a sudden you're reading 3 books a year. It's not that difficult. As long as you make time for yourself. You know, there are people in this world that cannot and do not accept affection and love. Like, we've probably all had a girlfriend or boyfriend like that. Not very affectionate, standoffish, don't touch me, I don't want to really get to know you. I just want to have, carnal knowledge and then not really hold you. That is kind of the way it is. And I know a lot of parents like that. I know a lot of men that because their dad and mom weren't very affectionate, they aren't either. And it's harder for them to accept love from anybody else. And if you know somebody like that, if you're like that, just reverse engineer that in your life and just look at it. Oh, that is how I have behaved. I have not let somebody else be my friend because I was pushing them away. If we look at relationships, I think Eric could give us a lot of examples of this, where a relationship with a woman started off fantastic for you, and as time went on, all of a sudden there were some verbal stabs. All of a sudden there was some separation. And then by the time you get to the end of that relationship, you can't stand that girl. And then you're wondering why I ever went out with her in the first place. So then if you just take that right with the point where you're breaking up, and you just kind of rewind it like you're playing the movie backwards, and all of a sudden you see anger. Oh, I'm tired of talking a little bit. Oh, we're more talking. I'm being really nice. She's being really nice. And all of a sudden we're in love. There's that section in there that if we can maintain, instead of being too sensitive and then stop communicating or never really communicate at all. Because a lot of people in the beginning of our friendships or intimate romances, we wear these masks, like we're pretending to be something we're not. We're pretending like some things don't piss me off. We're pretending like, it's okay that this girl all of a sudden stops shaving her armpits. Like for me, that would be a turnoff. I wouldn't like it. Some guys are fine with it, whatever it is. And so if I don't communicate it, then I start getting irritated. Then I don't want to cuddle with her. Then because I never verbalize my like or dislike, now all of a sudden we have animosity toward each other. And that's really stupid. When otherwise it could have been a nice relationship. And we many times don't want to say that, hey, I was the one in the wrong. That dumb girl was in the wrong. She should have shaved her pits. You know, that's how people think. It's kind of, well, it's not good. I thought about this. I haven't laughed until I cried. I don't know. What would you say, Jill? When was the last time I cried laughing? Probably like a month or two ago. Like, that's too long. We just need to bust out laughing until we cry. Like, all the time. Like, once a week, we should laugh so hard that our stomach hurts. Like, Mario, when's the last time you cried laughing? Probably a lot, because you're always smiling and laughing. Yeah. It makes you lighter, makes you feel better. You're releasing all kinds of stress hormones. We just take ourselves way too serious. I mean, if you're that damn serious, go watch some stand-up. You know, just watch some. Like one of my favorite comedians is Ron White. I mean, can't fix stupid. I mean, he's just great, man. I love that dude. So if I want a good laugh, call a buddy. Tell him to tell you a joke. Tell him to make fun of you even. Hey, man, can you just tell me something stupid about me? Just start laughing. It's important. And it's important to have people like that you can just be free and vulnerable with. Ricky, when's the last time you laughed until you cried? A year? 6 months ago? You probably need to laugh until you cry. If we want to be connected to each other, to nature, to God, the infinite, your higher power, whatever you want to call it, everything is just a label anyway. We don't know what it is. If you want to connect, do you meditate? Do you look at yourself and say, hey, do I sit and set my intentions for the day? Before I go to bed, do I show some gratitude? Like, hey, thanks for this roof. Thanks for this water. Thanks for everything. Thanks for my buddy. Thanks for Jacob. Thanks for Jacob in the future nudging me to not eat onion rings. You know, these are really, really important things. If you want to do something, just do it. And you got to everybody can set 10 minutes for themselves and to connect. You just can. If you want to be a friend, you want to have more friends, you got to be the friend that you want to have. Like, if I want John to be my good friend, well, I should reach out to John more. If John wants to be my friend, he should do the same thing. Same way with Eric. Everybody here. But everybody in this room right now, we kind of reach out to each other a pretty good bit. I should probably reach out to Kevin more. I still reach out to him some, but not as much as I should. So if I want friends, I got to be the friend that I would want. You know, we've all been let down by friends. We've all been betrayed by friends. Friends come and go. That's just part of life. But if we want to have a community of people that we love and trust, you got to bring something to the game besides never calling, never showing up. Like me, you asked me, how's Matt? Is Matt coming? And my first thought was, what a dick. I didn't call Matt any this week. Like, that was my first thought to myself. Like, damn. I don't know. Me and Matt have been close for the time we were born. So, I mean, a week's not that big of a deal in that particular case, but it's still kind of rude. I should have reached out to him. I didn't. Now I got to do that whenever this is over. We have to forgive too. Just like being upset at ourselves, like, man, I ruined that relationship, or I ruined that, I did this, oh God, I can't buckle my belt this morning because I ate too much bread and Jill fed me too much lasagna and crap at Monjuni's. You know, I got to forgive myself. Y'all have to too. If I hadn't reached out to John or Kevin or Eric in a while, well, all right. The first step is just, hey, I recognize that. I like these guys. I want to be closer friends. So if you want something, you got to give to get. You just do. If I want to stay close to Jacob, then I got to make the effort to do that. And vice versa. Aren't we all a little responsible for this? Like, negative judgment is a survival instinct. It just is. So if I don't know, let's say we were a super conservative place that was just over the top, strict on whatever religious thing, and all of a sudden these two new guys walk in and I'm wearing blue jeans and I'm thinking this is the most casual I'll ever be. And this guy comes in looking like a hippie, and negative judgment comes over me, like would probably happen in most Southern Baptist churches, and he wouldn't feel welcome. that would be that would be a negative judgment that gave no positive impact on anybody. Or when Ricky gets upset by everybody and everything, does that harm or have any effect on anybody else in a positive way? I mean, we all do it. I'm just calling Ricky because I love Ricky. Let's just think about what we talked about today. We have time every single morning for a few minutes for ourselves. We can take a few minutes. We can take a few minutes to read. We can take a few minutes to meditate. We can take one step every day to get to our financial goals. We can. We have time. We have a few moments every day to text a friend. Every single day, we could take 1 minute to text 5 or 6 of our friends that we want to stay close to. We can and we should. We have time to belong and be a part of a solid community. Y'all took the time to come here today. If you want to be a part of a community and you want to have strong relationships, well, you got to make the effort. It's not going to happen without it. If you want to live healthier, you can take time, pause, you can take a breath. And you have the awareness to love, laugh, hug, and not be afraid to do so, because you know people are going to come and go in your life. Just love the ones that are staying around. And if this resonates with y'all, and if y'all are in search of making new friends, y'all live close by, or you're just passing through like our 2 new friends here, come on. We're here every single Sunday at 1:15. I love y'all. Thanks for watching, and thank y'all for being here. And we're going to do some breath work and some meditation. So, peace.